Hello everyone! In this video, we'll go over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Orange Unit 16 words. You can follow along at home using your book. Let's get started! Our first word is adorn. Adorn is a verb, and adorn means to add to the appearance of, especially with pretty objects, to dress up. So when you adorn something, you are decorating it to make something more beautiful. The example sentence says, fresh flowers and beautiful linens adorn the dining room table. Just like in this picture here, you can see there is a table with beautiful fresh flowers, and linens is just like this tablecloth that covers the table, like the sheet that you see on it. So, because these things are making the table look more pretty or more beautiful, then we can say they are adorning the table. Another example would be, they adorned the room with balloons. So in this picture, you can see the room is decorated with beautiful balloons. I could also say, the crown was adorned with jewels. There are many beautiful jewels on these crowns that are making them look very pretty and making their appearance look better. And another example would be, the house was adorned for Christmas. So they decorated this house with a lot of beautiful lights and other decorations. They adorned the house. Some synonyms for adorn are to decorate, ornament, beautify, and enhance. Antonyms are to damage, mar, or blemish. Our next word can be used as a verb and as an adjective, but their pronunciation or the way that we say them is different. When we are using it as a verb, then we pronounce it as appropriate. So this ending part here sounds like the word ate. But when we pronounce it as an adjective, it doesn't say ate. It makes more of an it sound, appropriate. So let's look at the verb first. Appropriate means to take over or use as one's own, often without permission. To set apart for a certain purpose. So when you appropriate something, it means you are taking it for yourself, and most of the time you're not asking if you can take it, you are just taking it. The example says, a brother or sister may appropriate your favorite book. So if you have a little brother or sister, they might just one day take your favorite book. When they are taking it without asking you, they are appropriating it. Another example could be, he appropriated his brother's toy without permission. Another thing you can appropriate is an idea. It doesn't always have to be an object. So I could say, he appropriated the idea and used it as his own. He took someone else's idea and said that it was his idea now, so he appropriated that idea. And the second definition says to set apart for a certain purpose. So this could be something like, the government appropriated money for the new school. So the government or the leaders of a country have some money that they're saving or putting aside. That way they can use that money to build a new school. So we can say they are setting that money apart. They're putting it apart. So they are appropriating it for the school. They're not going to use that money to do other things. They're only going to use it to build the school. Some synonyms for appropriate are to seize, confiscate, steal, or to allot. And there are no antonyms for this word as a verb. Now let's talk about appropriate. So now we are talking about an adjective, and appropriate means suitable or fitting. So it means something is correct. It's the correct thing to do, the correct thing to wear, or the correct thing to use. For example, it is appropriate to wear a warm hat in winter. So of course in winter it's very cold, and wearing a warm hat or something to cover your throat and mouth like this is appropriate. It's something that people should do. It is correct. So we can say it's appropriate. Another example would be, these books are appropriate for kids. These are children's books, so they are correct for kids to read or look at. I could also use this word with not in front of it. For example, I could say shorts are not appropriate to wear to a wedding. It's not the correct kind of clothes that people should be wearing. Some synonyms for appropriate are correct and proper. Antonyms are unfitting, unsuitable, inappropriate, and improper. And this antonym, inappropriate, is the one that's most often used. For example, I can say, this warm hat is inappropriate for summer. It would be too hot. Our next word is assemble. Assemble is a verb, and assemble means to meet or bring together, to put or fit parts together. For example, on Thanksgiving, family members assemble to enjoy a holiday feast. So assemble means people are coming together or something is being brought together. So we can say that family assembles during holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas or Chuseok. They all come together. Another example could be, the class assembled in the gym. So the class all came together in the gym, maybe for their gym class. Likewise, I can say, we assembled the puzzle on the table. We put the puzzle together. So it's assembling it. And a lot of the times, this second definition, to put or fit parts together, is often talking about something like building furniture. For example, here in the picture, she's building a chair. So I could say she assembled the wooden chair by herself. Some synonyms for assemble are to convene, gather, congregate, to build, construct, join, or connect. Antonyms are to scatter, break up, disperse, to separate, or divide. Our next word is colossal. Colossal is an adjective, and colossal means amazingly large, great, or powerful in size or degree. For example, the colossal pyramid of Chichen Itza in Mexico was built about 1,000 years ago. So this sentence is talking about this giant pyramid here. And as you can see, compared to the people, the pyramid is very big. So we can describe it as being colossal. Colossal is anything extremely big or something that is very powerful. If something is colossal, it amazes you with its size or strength. Another example would be, a colossal wave crashed on the beach. Waves can be very big like this one here, or they can be very strong, so we can use the word colossal to describe them. And something that is often described as being colossal are dinosaurs. I could say the dinosaur was colossal compared to people. You can see in this picture, here is a person at the bottom, and you can see most of the dinosaurs are much bigger, so they are colossal. Some synonyms are enormous, huge, gigantic, massive, and immense. Antonyms are tiny, small, and little. Our next word is effective. Effective is an adjective, and it means producing a desired or conclusive result, having a strong impact. So when something is effective, that means that it works the way that it's supposed to work. For example, the team that makes the most effective presentation will win the debate. So in a debate, there are usually two sides that are having a conversation, and they both have different opinions. And in debates, often the side that makes the most effective presentation, so they have the best ideas or their speech works correctly to change people's minds, then they will be the winners of the debate. So we can use this word effective to describe that what they are doing is working correctly or it's doing what it's supposed to do, which in a debate, it's changing people's minds. Another example could be, exercise is effective for staying healthy. When you exercise, then you expect to become healthy. So we can say it is effective. It works well. It works correctly to help you become healthy. And the second part of effective says starting as a particular date or time. So effective can also mean something will start working from a certain date. For example, I could say the new rules are effective today. So from today, from this day, then there will be a new rule that everyone has to follow. So we could say it is effective from this day. Some synonyms of effective are capable, potent, impressive, striking, compelling, and beginning. Antonyms are ineffective, futile, useless, and weak. Our next word is frail. Frail is an adjective, and frail means weak or lacking strength, or likely to give in to temptation. For example, our sample sentence is, our class project is to send cheerful greeting cards to children who are in frail health. So in this sentence, there is a class project and they are making some cards for children that are in frail health, like this girl in the picture here. So someone who is in frail health means that they are very weak, they're not very strong, maybe they are very sick. Another example is the frail old man needed help walking. Remember, frail means someone who is lacking or doesn't have strength. So in this picture, you can see this man is having a difficult time walking. He needs to use a cane to walk. So we can say he is frail. He's weak. Another example is the frail chair collapsed under heavy weight. So if a chair is described as being frail, then it's not very strong and it can break easily. The second part of this definition, likely to give in to temptation, is talking about a person who easily changes their mind even though they said they wouldn't do something. For example, I could say, her will was frail, so she ate the donut even though she was on a diet. When someone has a frail will, or we're talking about willpower, it means the ability to control your behavior. Someone who has no willpower cannot control their behavior. Even if they are on a diet, they want to eat all the unhealthy food. So we can say she has frail will. Some synonyms for frail are delicate, feeble, sickly, slight, fragile, flimsy, brittle, and breakable. And antonyms are sturdy, robust, hardy, healthy, firm, strong, and solid. Our next word is hostage. Hostage is a noun, and a hostage is a person held prisoner by another or by an enemy and used in bargaining for certain demands. So the person who is holding the hostage usually wants something in return, like money or power. Let's look at the example. It says, the bank robber took one hostage. So imagine there is a bad person who is trying to take money from a bank. We can call them a bank robber. And he took one hostage. Here is the hostage. The hostage is the person that is being held prisoner. So they cannot escape this bad man. Usually they are tied up with some rope or they might have tape covering their mouth. They are a hostage. And this bad bank robber is probably asking for something in order to release the hostage so the hostage can go free. So they might be asking for money from the bank. So often when there is a hostage, the person that has taken that hostage will ask for something. I could also say, the police worked to free the hostages. So often police officers will work together and work with the bad person so that the hostages can go free. A lot of the times, the person who takes someone as a hostage, we call them a kidnapper. So in this picture here, you can see that the kidnapper has someone hostage and they are calling probably a family member to tell them that they have this person as a hostage and they're probably asking for something from the family, like some money. Some synonyms for hostage are a pawn, and there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is landslide. Landslide is a noun, and a landslide is a fast downhill movement of rocks or soil. Any mass that slides down. So just like this, you can see the soil and the rocks are all sliding down. So we would call this a landslide. The example sentence says, a week of heavy rain caused a landslide. Often landslides are caused by heavy rain that makes all of the rock and the soil a little bit weak, and then it can start to move down the side of the mountain. And a lot of times landslides will block roads, just like in this video here. The second definition of landslide says a lopsided victory in an election. So this means that there was some kind of competition, and lopsided means it's one side that has almost all of the points or all of the votes. We can use it in a game when we're talking about the points that one team got compared to the points that the other team got. For example, I could say they won the game in a landslide victory because they have 14 points and the other team has 0 points. It's a very big difference, so we can call it a landslide victory. And we often use this word when we're talking about an election, like when a country is voting for their new president. If there is one person who's trying to become president that gets almost all of the votes, just like in this picture here, you can see that the person who is for the blue side got almost all of the votes, while the person for the red side only got a few. We would call this a landslide victory. Some synonyms for landslide are an avalanche and a rout. And there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is rampage. Rampage can be used as a verb or as a noun, and a rampage means to rush around wildly or violently. As a noun, it is violent, reckless, or wild behavior. For example, a herd of frightened animals may rampage. So because rampage means that someone or an animal is running around wildly, we can describe this video here as a rampage. I can say the buffalo rampaged through the field. They ran around wildly, and you have to be careful because if you are in the way, then they might run into you and hurt you as well. So it can be violent. We can say that people or animals rampage when they lose their control and they start destroying things. Another example is the children rampaged through the house after school. Maybe the children were very excited when they got home from school and they started running around the house wildly or throwing their toys everywhere and making a mess. So we would describe that action as a rampage. And another example could be Angry fans rampaged after the game. Sometimes some fans of a sport might be very upset if their team loses, and that causes them to go into a rampage. So they might start to run around wildly or violently, or start destroying things or throwing foods and drinks on the floor. So we would call that a rampage. And lastly, I could say, the news carried a story about looters on a rampage. A looter is a person who steals something, usually when there is some kind of disaster that happens. For example, in this picture here, there was a bad flood, and now all of these people are going to the shops and just stealing the things from the shops. So we would call them looters. And when looters go around destroying the store's windows and taking the things, we can say that they are on a rampage. They are being violent and they are having some wild behavior. Some synonyms for rampage are to rage, a riot, uproar, turmoil, and frenzy. There are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is scamper. Scamper is a verb, and scamper means to run or move quickly or playfully. So usually small children or animals can be described as scampering when they are feeling happy. It's very light, fast, and usually an excited movement. The example says, children usually scamper around a park. So they are usually running around happily, like this picture here, when they go to the park or a playground. I could also say, the puppy scampered around the yard. It ran around happily. And this word scamper is often used to describe the movement of mice. I could say the mice scampered across the floor. So they ran quickly across the floor. Likewise, I can say squirrels scampered up the tree. They quickly ran up the tree. Some synonyms for scamper are to dash, scurry, hurry, scoot, and romp. Antonyms are to lumber, lag, dawdle, or stroll. Our next word is symptom. Symptom is a noun, and a symptom is a sign of illness or of a physical problem, a sign that something else exists or is happening. For example, fever is one symptom of the flu. So when someone has a fever, it means that they are much warmer than the normal temperature. For example, they might be above 38 degrees when they check the thermometer. So we can say this fever is a symptom. It's telling us that maybe this person has the flu. So it's a sign that tells us there is a problem. I could also say coughing is a symptom of being sick. If someone starts coughing suddenly, then it might be a sign that there is a problem, that they are sick. I could also say tiredness is one symptom of not sleeping well. If someone is not sleeping well, then they might suddenly become tired. So that is a symptom. It tells us that something is happening. And lastly, headaches can be a symptom of not drinking enough water. Of course, if you don't drink enough water, then it might cause your head to start to hurt. So that is a symptom. Some synonyms are a signal, clue, indication, and evidence. And there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is warrant. Warrant is a noun, and a warrant is a written order that allows for legal action. So a warrant is a piece of paper like this one that is signed by a judge or the law that gives permission to do something like arrest someone or search a place. For example, the police got a warrant to search the suspect's garage. So we often use warrants when we think that someone did something bad, but we didn't catch them doing it. For example, in this sentence, let's say that there is a man who stole a car, but we are not sure if he really did it, so we need to search his house. But police officers cannot just search a house because they want to. They need to have some evidence that makes them think that person is the one who did it, maybe a video. So when they have that evidence and they think someone did something bad, they can go to a judge and get this paper, this warrant. That way they can go to the person's house and search for the evidence, search for the car or search for the things that they stole. So that is called a warrant. I can say, the judge signed a warrant for his arrest. We can get warrants to search for things in places, or we can get warrants to arrest someone, which means take them to jail or take them to prison. It gives permission to do something. Some synonyms for warrant are an authorization and permit, and there are no antonyms for this word. We can also use warrant as a verb, but the meaning is very different. So now warrant means to declare for certain, to approve or guarantee, to serve as a reason for. It means to make something certain, sure, or acceptable. It can also mean to say that something is right or it deserves attention. For example, a deep cut may warrant stitches. So stitches are when you would go to a doctor and then they use some string or something else to tie your skin back together after you get a deep cut. That way your skin can heal correctly. So whenever you get a deep cut, then it's usually certain, it's sure that you need these stitches. So warrant means you need to do something for sure. Something is correct or something is approved. Another example would be, his actions warrant a punishment. So because he did some bad action like pulling a girl's hair, that warrants, or for sure, that should get a punishment. It's what he should get because of what he did. And we can use the warrant in a positive way as well. I can say his amazing test score warranted a reward. So because he did a great job on his test, then that warrants, or he should get it, a reward. Some synonyms for warrant are to certify, promise, authorize, or justify. And there are no antonyms for this word. And that's all for this video. We went over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Orange Unit 16 words. Thank you so much for listening and see you next time. Bye!